Lodi gives up on trying to get to the bar, steps on the nearest empty chair and whistles loudly, like that kind of whistle.
Visually, how does that look for...
Yeah,
or
what
how
is
does
that kind of whistle?
I have a regular mouth.
I meant as an audio medium. What would our listeners describe? How would you describe that for the listeners?
When you stick your thumb and your pointer finger in your mouth and whistle like real loud and sharply.
Almost everybody turns their head. The bar is quiet. The one person still looms over Nikisa, and they turn their head toward you. You can see the fire in their eyes.
My other hand holds up a glint of Anoat Sector credits, and I cry out jovially, "Round of drinks on me!"
And there's a cheer from everybody. What does Nikisa do?
She cheers. She also cheers as she's moving away from that group.
She cheers and slips under the raised arm of the large person who was blocking her way and meets up with Lodi.
Yes. It's and for that, milady, you'll be taking me home. And she grabs Lodi's arm after she finishes paying and walks away from the bar, making it look and a big show of this display of acting that they have never met before, but they met now. So if you see them together, it's because they met at the bar.
Yeah, sure. I will take you home.
You both get pats on the back as you exit the bar and find Bekros.
Huh? What? No, I wasn't touching anything.
Leaning under the hood of Swoop.
Bekros, it's not yours, and the owner might be mad.
How would they be mad? I made it go faster.
Because we're outsiders touching their things. Let's go.
Okay.
You all head back to the ship, Docking Bay 24. You pass Arbo's shop on your way and all of those now familiar places that you passed a couple times when you were walking in circles.
Was Arbo's open or closed when we walked by now?
The lights are still on inside, those dim lights. I think at this time the sun is a bit lower in the sky. I think day and night is a little bit more difficult to keep track of on this moon, as it is a moon and it rotates around a planet that has an orbit of its own, but it is a little bit closer to evening now. But yeah, you can see Arbo sitting at the counter inside looking pretty bored.
Okay, nobody in, doesn't seem like.
No.
Literally mysteriously closed. That was my
No, it is not mysteriously closed.
Okay.
It is mysteriously open because there's nothing on the shelves.
Right, exactly. So we get back to the ship, and Nikisa calls for okay, let's sit down and share informations that were gathered.
The three of you sit down, and you are joined by Captain Dross.
I toss her the cat. Got this for you.
She nods at you and puts it on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I got Aster to trust me a little bit, and hopefully I can set up a negotiation between her and Romar. I think I'm going to take a minute to contact my friend Bick, who's one of the advisors for the Noble Court. What did you learn in all your skulking about?
Well, there is definitely a data chip that I have to go over and look into whatever information it is. I was not supposed to get it, but I did anyway. There's also the matter of my suspicions about the shipment being correct. And unfortunately, by that I mean my worst case scenario expectations of it is a shipment of possible weapons and other things that can be used for a more active revolution. And
what led you to that conclusion?
Oh, I literally heard the big guy, big guy, big lizard guy.
Trandoshan?
The Trandoshan, yes. He was having a conversation about how he is going to be present at the the drop of the weapons and to see, I don't know what he meant by that, but to see his goons and show face. I cannot remember verbatim, but there's definitely a second group at work, and I don't think that, like Aster, they are as willing to do a peaceful negotiation.
She said as much. She described him as a potentially violent revolutionary, definitely an accelerationist.
Yeah, and I think she's running out of time to keep it peaceful.
All right. What time is the drop? How long do we have?
It's tonight. It's evening right now. So how many hours?
So soon?
Do we have a specific time?
Yeah.
I don't think you have a specific time. Just tonight. You're welcome.
Well, at least we know where, so time to go do a stakeout. I guess I will just message Vic.
What do you need from me?
Yeah, what do you need from us?
Captain, hello, yes.
From you? Nothing. I need a plan.
I was asking Lodi.
The plan is to bring Aster Rom to a negotiation table with the noble court tomorrow. I need to arrange for that negotiation to happen, but we also need more information about this drop, especially about Hask's activities.
Do you think we should have the negotiation table be here on this ship as like a neutral ground?
Is it big enough? I kind of look around.
Well, I mean, we're just bringing like, what, 2 people on board?
4 people.
Four people?
Do you think that the prince would come alone, or with just one advisor or bodyguard? And do you think he would be willing to jeopardize his safety in order of a neutral meeting?
I think that if he was interested in negotiating, we would need to insist on that. Otherwise, what's to keep somebody like the prince just arresting whoever walks off the ship onto somewhere else?
And what is to keep the revolutionaries to just assassinating a prince that is now here unprotected or without his personnel?
Us?
How far away is Bavva?
It's in the sector. It's a short jump.
We could bring them to Bavva, or have the prince meet us at Bavva. It's an independent planet. It's our home ground.
Okay, Lodi, you seem to have some sort of past experience with the royals.
Yes.
How willing do you think they would be to negotiate anywhere but their grounds?
I think that they are more obsessed with status and their own pride and hubris than with actual governance. I think that they would rather spend their times doing leisurely activities, or, well, not so leisurely. They don't care.
And what's a bigger force of power, like a demonstration of power, than to make people bow to their wills and have to come to them?
I think that's kind of what got them into this mess. I mean, this like whole blockade is a show of power. I'm not sure that the folk of this, the farming folk of this planet, are really going to be felt listened to if we just take their leader to what could presumably become their jail.
Do you think you can get in touch with the royal representative before we have to go to the stakeout, or to at least put the idea that we would like to meet either in a neutral ground or on a place where both parties feel like they are not in advantage?
I think the promise of 3 Jedi to keep the negotiations safe and secure would be enough to let them know that they could meet with us, whether that's on this ship or on a Republic planet of like Bavva. I think any of those work. I just was curious in the sense of if we're going to be negotiating, how to make that feel like we aren't taking sides. But that's a skill set that's more yours, Lodi. I'll default to your knowledge on it. I'm happy to go to the drop, as it were, and calm you guys whenever somebody shows up.
Do we have a map of the area, I presume?
I can pull one up for you.
We can definitely check the distance to see if it would be wise to have only one and then cavalry comes after. I'm not saying necessarily that we have to bow to their wills and do it in their home turf. It's just that, understandably, if this ship is not big enough, I don't think the prince will come without at least 4 or 5 other people be advisors and guards, and he is the heir after all. And is he an only child? Do we have that in the data log?
Yes, he is.
He has cousins.
Okay.
But
He is the sole heir of the royal family. I don't think he would come without a good amount of protection. He cannot be. I don't think he's going to feel safe if it's just our protection to keep it neutral. And there's also the issue of, you said Hask, right? Big lizardy
yes.
guy?
Yes.
The fact that he was very, I wouldn't say, maybe I would say blood hungry, but he was a little too excited about the idea of weapons being
He
in his.
is a revolutionary. That's what he wants.
And that would be the person that we
That's
would be.
what I have to convince him not to do. That words can be weapons too.
The Thronta is a beautiful little ship, but no prince is going to want to meet on this bucket of bolts.
But at a Jedi Temple.
And if you're worried about having more protection or Jedi around, did I see Master Zarias at the temple when we left? I think she's still there.
Yeah. I could calm Master Zarias right now.
Yeah, I think if we are going to not lure the prince out of his safety, it has to be with a little pomp and flavor that he is used to, and it has to be somewhere that, the royal advisors would feel safe making the meeting. So yes, maybe a temple, which is, protected by the Jedi, and it's not the home turf of either negotiating parties. But yeah, but then we have to communicate with Master Zarias and with your contact within the royals. And then we have to contact Aster as well, because was she aware of where the meeting would be taking place, or she just knows of a meeting?
Of a meeting.
Because if she was,
she knows that I will be taking her off Nar Hypa.
Well, she's going to have to come with us. We're the only people who can get off the planet right now.
Yep. So she's aware that it won't be here.
Okay.
I think perhaps the temple on Bavva. It's independent. It's neutral territory for the two of groups. It's grandiose enough to be impressive. I just need to figure out what the noble court would want to sway them to our decision.
Bekros is going to change out of his bright-colored poncho and new hat. He's going to take a cloak or something off the ship to better blend in with the environment, because now it's not about being subtle. Now it's about being stealthy. He's not leaving in frustration or anything along those lines. He's just, the only really thing that he can help with right now is keep an eye on the drop, since it doesn't have a time. And then when he sees folks, he can calm.
When this ship came down to the planet, the blockading ships asked for a manifest. What ground vehicle was on the manifest?
Well, specifically, I would imagine that that Bekros loaded his personal speeder into whatever compartment he could.
What is that personal speeder like? Not the Vector.
Not the Vector. No, just a swoop. A single engine swoop that's been hot rodded up a little bit.
Okay. So as Lodi and Nikisa come up with the final bits of their plan, Bekros hops onto his swoop and sets off into the desert. We see Bekros speeding through the sand, his white cape billowing behind him. and racing through weather-worn rock formations and passing moisture farms, the treadwell droids moving slowly across the sand. And in the distance, there's an outcropping of rocks, tall rocks that look like they form some sort of shelter in the center of them. I think I need a stealth check from Bekros.
That makes sense. One of the skills he's pretty decent at.
It's going to be the same check that Nikisa rolled in the bar. It's going to be red and 2 purples.
Ooh, wow, okay. It is getting nighttime. Can I argue a boost?
Sure, you can have a boost because it's nighttime.
Okay. For the darkness specifically, I guess.
Even though you're wearing white.
Well, I guess it makes sense that it was white, but I was hoping that it was more brown color, that they had some kind of like Republic ponchos that are a little bit less.
Sure, I mean, you could have taken off the white outer robes and you've got just like the leathers on or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay.
All right. This pool is barely in my favor. We've got yellow, 2 greens, 2 purples, a red, and a blue. I hate these dice. So many of them are turning up blank. I do succeed.
Okay.
It's going to be a success with 1 threat.
With 1 threat, huh? Okay. All right, with that threat and our banked threats, I think as Bekros comes close to these tall rock spires, these some of them are collapsed over, making little chambers that as he gets closer, he sees a small group of people standing in one of them. He navigates his swoop close, and as he gets within a few hundred feet of the rocks, a little warning pops up on the dashboard, a little blinking red light, and some smoke begins to come out of the back of it. And
now I just missed that.
Here's the regulator go out on his swoop. It was a successful stealth check, though.
A successful stealth check. My swoop is long for this world, I guess. Not long for this world is actually the way to say that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Bekros saw the group of people that were crowded around the tree. So yeah, essentially he's going to park that swoop as soon as the malfunction happens. Tuck it into some kind of rocky outcropping or something along those lines and shut it down. And then proceed on foot to to the vantage point to kind of keep a look at for when a ship is going to arrive.
Okay, so how many hours has passed? Which means that we were doing other stuff on the ship.
Yeah,
Are we gonna...
I think about 2 hours have passed. What were Nikisa and Lodi doing during those 2 hours?
I was checking that data chip. I was decoding it.
It is going to be a computer's roll.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard. It's going to be 3 purples.
Okay, computers, 3 purples. Okay, boost die, because that's literally my specialty.
Boost die because
I'm at home. I have my own little equipment that helps me do the thing.
Yep, you can have that boost.
Okay. Boost because I'm feeling confident that I was right about the weapons.
No boost for confidence. No.
Why not? I'm like super confident, and like that should give me a boost because now I'm in a good mood and like shooting my best computer language stuff. I mean, I need my IT consultant to sound computer smart. Give me some computer words. Hardwares and hacking and backdoors and JavaScript.
You have a boost because you are using your stuff in your space, and you can have a boost because you already have you know who this came from. You know it came from a gank. You know the sort of tech that you're working with.
Yeah. Okay. I got
you and your triumphs.
I know, right? Just don't say it out loud. It's gonna stop happening. I got 2 successes and 1 triumph.
Okay. So how do you go about decrypting this encrypted file? You put it on your data pad.
I put on my data pad. I have my
do you have
own
scripts that you wrote?
Yeah, like let's pretend that I just said a bunch of like technological smart things.
You load the chip in your data pad. You connect it to the maybe you even connect it to the ship's computers and allow the droid brains and the connected to the ship do some of the heavy labor for you in decrypting.
Yeah.
You set up some neural pathways between the droid brains and your data pad, and within a half an hour, you've got that chip unlocked.
Unlocked. Defragmented.
Yeah. It is ship schedules. It is patrol schedules for the fighters that you saw when you first came in. It has schedules for which officers will be on what ships and when. Lots of inner workings of the Noble Court Navy, including when the next cruiser is going to arrive and the orders for ground forces within the next week. What do you got for that triumph?
It is safe to assume that this comes from the Royal Navy Force, right?
Yeah.
This has
like
been...
There was either a hack or a leak. Yep.
Hacker-wise, it makes me think of something in the lines of like, now my data pad has created a pathway to decode the informations. So next time I do have to break in, I have like if it's royal related, I would have like boosters for it because now my system knows how to break it faster.
I will give you either boosts when dealing with Noble Court systems or an upgrade for free on your next roll that has to do with breaking into Noble Court systems. So a green to a yellow.
Mm-hmm. What do we thinking?
So an extra die on all the rolls or a significantly better die on the next roll?
I think either is great.
Yeah.
I slightly lean towards take the yellow dice, take your triumph luck into our second session, and roll a triumph on your next hack, and then own the systems of the Royal Court.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
So
I basically opened a back door, and that means a boost die.
Yeah.
A boost, not a boost. An upgrade. Okay.
Yep. And now you have all that information. I think data pads chime as that information is uploaded to all three. The next hour or so goes by quietly, uneventfully. You hear chattering from the group of people who are also waiting for a ship to arrive. The sun goes down and the large planet rises in the sky, casting the landscape in red. And eventually you hear the distant sound of an engine. A large ship, bright lights shining downwards as it lands, comes into view. It circles down into an open area in the center of this space. It is a large freighter, a big sort of thing that smugglers would use. But it's not really a smuggler ship. You can see a decal on the side pretty clearly. You see the insignia of the huts. It lands and people disembark. Hands are shook. Crates are moved. Credits are exchanged. What does Bekros do?
I think as soon as the lights appeared on the horizon as the ship was beginning to land, he calmed back to the rest of the group of saying, it's happening now. If you guys want to get out here, I can observe, I can intervene, whatever the plan is, however things are going back there, let me know. Also, just so you know, this is being done by the huts.
Huts.
We've got huts.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Path of the Storm. I'm your GM and host for this season, Mark. You can find my podcast, Coruscant Nights, and The Other Place wherever you listen to podcasts. Bekros is played by Andrew from the Dicey Cantina. Be sure to check out Dicey Cantina's newest podcast, The Foxglove Letters, out now wherever you get your podcasts. Lodi is played by Erica Goodwitch. You can also find Erica on the newest season of Heroes of the Hydean Way. Check the show notes for all of her links. And Nikisa is played by Isabella Jones. Thank you to Nikki for lending her voice to this episode. This episode of Path of the Storm was produced by Nightcast Creative. For info on all of our shows, RPGs, and everything else we do, visit nightcastcreative.com.